Good morning, Bears. How's everybody doing today? Good to see all of you, and good to be seen. It is a wonderful day, and it is a new background behind me. What's going on? Things are a little bit different here. Well, I'm trying some things out. I'm trying to get my room cleaned up. That's essentially what's going on here. And we're working it out a bit at a time, of course, without fail. LIVESTREAMS, that's not changed. But what we are trying to do is just have a little bit more order in here and make this a much more enjoyable experience for all involved, because that's what we're here about. That's what we're all here to do. So as you can see, some of the things I've updated behind me, I now have I have quite the bookshelf. I finally moved out of the kitchen, or I should say the living room rather, and brought down here. A lot of these are from my mom's dad, my grandfather, Arthur Perry. And he had an extensive library of biblical study books and things like that. So at some point down the road, some of these are going to become relevant to the show. All these insane commentaries that he's had for years that are pretty cool. If you don't have a set of commentaries, there's free ones online. Some of the greatest guys I've ever known that had biblical commentaries, if you're ever interested in that sort of thing, J. Vernon McGee has a whole commentary going through the Bible, verse by verse, book by book. Pretty interesting insights. Neat guy. Probably didn't agree with him on everything, but always appreciated his down-to-earth sort of approach to a lot of things. Neat character to learn a little bit about his life. J. Vernon McGee. That's not what these are. These are the Longman and Garland commentaries, which are also excellent. Just barely scratching the surface on that, though. I'm just getting started. Up above, I've got a number of different Bibles and Torahs and other study reference materials related to that. But I also have some other books. Like I've got an older Strong's Concordance that was my grandfather's, and other interesting books about Jewish culture. And it's a really interesting one I picked up at a bookstore a while back that, let me knock this table around some. That's one thing we haven't changed. The table still shakes like crazy. But yeah, got that one at a discount bookstore. The one on the very end over here, this blue tall one on the very end, and dark navy thing, whatever. But it's interesting. It's like this compendium of all things Jewish. You know, very, very interesting. Some neat things, like diagrams of what the Temple Mount would have looked like back in the day. Inspector. Well, no pornographic materials to my knowledge. Excuse me. If it's been put there without my being aware of this, then perhaps. But I suspect not so much. You know, and why bother? The internet has a plethora of that type of thing, obviously, right? No, kidding. Not really. It's out there, folks. Be warned. There's freaky people and freaky stuff seeking to tempt you every day, more so than men, because we are appealed to visually. So be on guard, because it's out there and it wants you. Off that topic. Thanks, Inspector. Up top, I've got the Talit, and then picture of my grandfather, Ralph Rademacher. When he was about my age now. My grandfather, Arthur Perry's book, Finding God in the Psalms, stacked up there. And, of course, way up top, I've got my brother's Star Trek painting that he did for me, printout, I guess. My dad's painting, and some of the other things you recognize over here, the shofar. Let's see if I can do this. The shofar, yes. And then it's tougher to see the Kansas, the signed, autographed Kansas picture, and my drum set ornament. Rudiments poster still here. I've actually got the guitar and bass back here, and I've got a couple of didgeridoos back there as well. So try to keep it interesting, right? That's what you can expect. Got the keyboard over here. So eventually we'll get to doing some other music stuff. Get back to my music thing. I'm going to get my drum kit put up so it's like over here this way. You can see some of the drum shelf is pretty well stocked, and I have a lot of those things handy, ready to go. The cymbal rack also ready to go. So we're turning this not only into a functional place for me to do the show, more functional than it was, but we're also seeking to make it more of a studio like it was intended to be. I'm going to turn up my volume a little bit because I know it's kind of quiet. Let's see here. Your wife is a good optician. You see fine. I missed that one. I would love, Kodak says, saying this again, now there are more in here. I would like to express how much I love all of you and this wonderful community. Oh, that's really sweet, Kodiak. Thank you very much. I appreciate that greatly. Scroll up, huh? Yeah, I got to find out what was said. It's not the mirror, it's the eyes. What is going on? Let's see. Fender proof was in the mirror this morning. Nice. Yes. Yes. Your mirror doesn't lie. You're very funny. Oh my goodness. You guys are cracking me up with this. It's too funny. Well, I thought before we get going here, I didn't have a specific guided topic for today. You know, I want to sit this way because I do want the hashtag Let Big Bear Stream to be visible throughout the show, because that's an important staple, I think, of this program until his streaming abilities are returned on YouTube, on his original channel, because having to do it on another and then uploading it back and forth, that's ridiculous. You know, it's a small price to pay. Plenty of other people are having worse situations than him. This is true. But yeah, this will stay up until we see that positively impacted. Just keep that in mind, Susan. We got your number. Well, not really, but you know, and if we did, I don't think that I'd want to call you. No offense. I'm sure you're a wonderful person in some way, shape, or form, but yeah, if you've got it in your mind that throttling people's ability to speak on your platform is a way to go, I gotta say, I don't think it's a winning plan. You and Jack Dorsey and Marky Zuckerberg, y'all need to get together and figure out that trying to manipulate the population is probably not in your best interests. Just saying. And I'll just say it again and again until, at the very least, we get Big Bear's live streaming back on, you know? At any rate. So, today, I'd like to introduce a new segment to the show. A new segment that I'm working to perfect a little bit, and hopefully it works out to be as amusing as I hope it is for you. Letterman had his top 10. Steven Crowder had his 7+1. But now I am going to introduce to you the 4 claws plus 1. And here's Chunk to help me. Don't forget the dew claw. The dew claw makes 5. That's right, Chunk. Thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate that, buddy. Also, Chunk would like to thank all of you, before we begin, for purchasing the Love Chunky or Kami shirts. Those went extremely well. That is now closed. We are no longer selling them, but we sold a total of 12. You know, that includes me buying one. But still, we got past that mark. I was talking in Hangouts with some of you last night, and we were over the mark to get them printed. Of course, I would have received like next to nothing for trying to get through that. It would have been like 23 cents per shirt or something like that, or less. And fortunately, it bumps up with each one sold just a little bit. But once you pass the mark of 11, once you get 11 sold, then it's like the actual $5 or $6 per shirt, you know, like it's supposed to be. And so that's good because it actually goes into helping the channel grow, which is great. That's fantastic, you know. And in all honesty, now that I know that, because I didn't know that before, I would have just said, let's shoot for trying to get 11 sold originally, you know, and maybe I could have lowered the price a little bit more, you know, just by a couple bucks. I think next time I'll try to do that and see if we can, because I didn't think we'd even get to 11. I thought that's amazing, right? I would have been happy if we'd have gotten just, you know, 6 or 7, but we ended up just at the last minute getting up to 12. So that was great, and I'm really grateful for that. Chunk is grateful. And I hope everybody enjoys those. I'm going to have fun wearing mine. And I told beautiful Lady Bear she can borrow mine. She didn't decide to get one right away, but she can borrow mine as long as she asks first. And Harold Green, I'll have to get with you afterward to make sure you got yours right. Just making sure everybody have their receipts that bought one, and make sure everything looks right. Because I know Steve tried to order 2 and somehow it didn't work out to be 2 and had to order it again. But hopefully, if you got charged another time, let me talk to. If you got charged more than twice, I will talk to Bonfire and make sure that you're squared away appropriately, because you shouldn't have been charged more than twice. So yeah, if anybody experiences any problems with that, feel free to let me know, and I will get a hold of Bonfire and figure out what the process is that needs to happen, because we want this to be fun. We want it to be enjoyable. Inspector says mine goes to 12. My shit goes to 12. Okay, good. That's weird why it reversed one of the charges, man. I don't know what's going on there. That's strange. Gotta love it, though, I guess, until I can just buy shirts straight out and then you get them from me direct. That would be the way cooler way. And one day when I have capital with which to do such things, it'll happen. But at any rate, so our 4 claws plus 1, we're going to have a special guest come in to help us with our 4 claws plus 1 today. And we're going to start at the 5th and work our way up, right? Work our way up to the little dew claw on the paws. For those of you that are not familiar, a dew claw is actually this other claw on the front paws of dogs. Many of you probably know about this. And it's just this weird claw that's not in line with the rest. You know, they have the 4 that actually touch the main paw pads, and then there's this one further back. And it's like, why would that be there? But I guess when their paw fully connects with the ground, like usually it's up and at an angle right like this, and the dew claw is like way back here, you know, but when they come down and touch, you know, as they're running, it'll actually connect. And I think I remember reading about why they call it a dew claw. It's interesting. But I'd forgotten. I can't tell you right now. I didn't look that up before the show. That'd be useful information, right? But my wife was familiar with it. She had shared some stuff with me a while back about that. At any rate, on with the 4 claws plus 1. Don't forget the dew claw. Thanks, Drunk. I won't forget to do that. Just wanted to reiterate that before we start. Now, our special guest to help us with this is, as you may have guessed, an appropriate person, because the topic for today is the signs that you're finally getting yourself together. And here to help us do that is Dr. Jordan Peterson. Doctor?
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much for inviting me back on the show. I know I was a bit forceful with the mic yesterday, and I apologize for that very much.
That's quite all right, Doctor. It's no problem at all. Let's just move forward, and I'd very much enjoy hearing what you had to say and sharing these.
Well, all right. We'll go ahead and I'll read these. All right, number 5. When you stand up straight with your shoulders back, that pesky 5th lumbar gets back into its alignment.
That's great. That's flippin' hilarious. Whoever thought that following these 12 rules for life would also have an impact on your spinal health? That'd be a nice thing, right? All right, number 4. How about I count out the numbers, kind of in that that David Letterman tradition, and you go ahead and read them for us, Doc.
Yes, that sounds like a fine idea. All right then.
All right, number 4.
When you make your bed in the morning, the covers start to follow the Pareto distribution, and the square root of the area of the covers now covers the whole bed.
That's very good. Thank you for that. Yes, it's nice to know that as we try to get ourselves in order, we can do more with less. So it's important to realize that you get yourself more efficient. That's good. All right. Number 3.
When you read Alexander Solzhenitsyn's The Gulag Archipelago, you're reading it for encouragement.
Yes, yes, one can see how seeing their situation is much more somber than yours, I suppose, can drive someone to doing their best.
Well, I mean, I've thought a lot about this. I mean, you think about just the horrible, awful conditions they must have experienced. And doctor, we only have a limited amount of time.
Oh, certainly. I'm sorry. All right. Let's move forward then. All right. Number 4.
You're bitter and resentful and without purpose and adrift and hostile and resentful and vengeful and arrogant and deceitful and of no use to yourself and of no use to anyone else and no partner for a mate, and there's nothing good that's in you, but you decide to sell your face on a mug anyway.
That's appropriate. Thank you, doctor. And by the way, tomorrow the Pinder's Ugly Mug goes back on sale, so be sure to look for that from teespring.com. That ought to be a highlight for the lot of us. So let's be sure to keep our eyes open for the Pinder's Ugly Mug. Finally, let's come to our last one. Number 1. I'm sorry, I think I started reading these backwards. That last one was number 2. I misnumbered them. Clearly, I have not been getting myself in order, right? I haven't been getting myself together. I can't count properly. The final one, number 1.
You risk being offensive in order to think, and you decide to tell your wife your honest opinion about her morning breath. After all, a couch and a sore face aren't so bad.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our 4 claws plus 1. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chunk, for inspiring me.
Thanks, Dad. And don't forget about the Duke Claw.
No, Chunk, we certainly won't do that. I appreciate that. So hopefully we'll continue that segment. Maybe we'll get some music behind the Chunk graphics and things like that. But yeah, you want to keep going and want to try different ideas here and make it an enjoyable place for people to come. So I'd like to see that become a tradition. I think that's a worthwhile tradition. And Dr. Peterson, you've talked about traditions being an important thing, haven't you?
Yes, I think when you go places, it's important, as long as it doesn't completely violate your set of ethics, that you try to engage in the traditions of the place where you've gone to, and it helps to engender you to the people. I have this friend, he's a native carver, and
Doc, we know about that.
I'm sorry. I just enjoy talking about my friend, and I was rather put out when that pinhead of an author decided to call him a noble savage. I have no patience for that. You don't know what you're talking about. Better watch out, buddy.
All right. Don't get yourself worked up. All right, just it's probably a good idea to go get some rest and go ahead and eat a steak or two, and then let us know how you're doing. All right, Doc.
All right, thank you again for inviting me on. It's a pleasure to have been here. Thank you much.
Thank you, Dr. Jordan Peterson. Everybody, thank you very much. Let's see here. I'm Percussion Bear, or there is a Percussion Bear. What's that, Kodiak? You think that ought to be my name, Percussion Bear, or is there another bear named Percussion Bear? Oh, man. He exclusively does shows with 100% likes. That's right. Because he has respect for himself, Oh, man. Yeah, I hope that was enjoyable. I'd like to, there is a Percussion Bear in the Bear app. Oh, Josiah's Percussion Bear. Well, welcome, Josiah. Glad to have you here. How long have you been hanging around the Bears community? That's a name I haven't seen, so I'm always curious to meet new bears. That's part of what we're here for. Thanks for sharing the stream, Kodiak. I definitely appreciate that. It's always good. Always good. And if you want to cut this out, this whole section, feel free to cut the section. I'd be glad to see, a separate little bit of the Big Drum Bears 4 Claws +1. And Clark Kent is Spartacus. Welcome, Clark Kent. Good to see you again. Yes, Josiah, welcome. Let's see here. Chunk the Dog my star. Glad to see you, Josiah. Josiah, since you are a bear, and since you're known to some, and because you call yourself Percussion Bear, I'm going to have to give you a wrench, at least for now. And remember, I've told everyone that once we reach 1,000 subs, the wrenches will disappear, except for a select few that are going to be the actual moderators of the channel. At least that's been my idea for now. Who knows? Maybe it'll get crazier, sooner. But I'd say 1,000. That's a goal for now. So enjoy your wrench while it lasts. We'll see what happens. What's going on here? Hey, Kodiak, I got a tweet of you mentioning me. That's cool. That's very nice. That's awesome. Glad to be in the Twittersphere. Best Answers said, am I willing to interview you? Oh, it's a thought. It might happen. I'm going to be interviewing plenty of bears. I actually want to do what Pinder does. Liberty Snake, that's going to be great, man. By the way, if anybody hasn't seen Liberty Snake's channel, he does some awesome skateboarding. Liberty Snake is a ridiculous boarder, man. I mean, I love seeing some of the tricks that you're able to do. Liberty, if it's at all possible, I would love to see you do the Christ Air. I want to know if it's possible for you to get a Christ Air move. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, there was a game on PlayStation, the original PlayStation, and Nintendo 64 years ago, and it was called Tony Hawk Pro Skater, right? So it was, of course, the famous skateboarder Tony Hawk and a bunch of other famous skateboarders that they'd rendered into this video game. And they had all sorts of different cool moves that you could do and gain points and do obstacles and all kinds of stuff. It was kind of interesting. But, and you could get jacked too. I mean, you could fall down from deep heights and just it would break your neck and your back. It's horrible looking. But that was where I discovered a song by a group called Primus called Jerry Was a Race Car Driver. I wasn't as familiar with Primus until I played that game. I'd heard people talk about him, but never had much of an interest to listen. So I always loved that being in the soundtrack and a few other tunes that were in there. There was a Power Man 5000 tune, all kinds of cool stuff. But there is a trick that you could perform in that game that was called the Christ Air. And you would grab, you would go on a half pipe kind of vertical, the half pipe and go up the vertical end of it. And you go up in the air, you try to get as much air as you could, and you pull your board out from underneath your feet and try to do a spin in the air with your arms straight out like you're on a cross, right? Holding the board in one of those, and then tucking the board back under your feet before you hit the deck again, or before you hit the half pipe again. And as many spins as you could get, the more points you got, right? So it was one of those really high point kind of tricks if you could pull it off. But yeah, it would be so cool to see Liberty Snake Bear do a legit Christ Air off of a half pipe. So if you could pull that out, man, I would tweet that. I would say, check out Liberty Snake Bear's ridiculousness. Just don't kill yourself in doing it. I would not enjoy that, and that I'm the one who suggested you do something that killed you. That would leave me pretty sullen. But as Dr. Peterson would tell us, suffering is what most people throughout most of the history of the world have experienced. So, at any rate, I know Liberty has talked about going to a JBP meetup group, and I think that's a great deal. So what was I going to talk about here? I was going to say I'd be interested to hear today. Before I get to that, that's what I was saying. Nice, Kick. Yeah, thanks for subbing him. Maybe there'll be some sort of UNN article that you can get out about Liberty Snake's skateboarding. Somehow it's like hate speech. if he does a Christ Air, it's considered hate speech. That'd be a great article, Kikya. I'd totally read that. People don't already follow Kikya as a writer for the UNN. Definitely do that. And for those of you who don't know what UNN is, that's the Unbearable News Network. She's pretty flippin' funny. Skate speech. That's perfect. That's awesome. See, we come up with great ideas together. That's where it happens. Skate speech. I love it. Kick ya. New idea for you. A skater in a local skate park somewhere has been accused of skate speech. When he performed the Christ Air, it was considered intolerant and totally unacceptable. This is so golden. I love it. Oh man, you guys make this worthwhile. Every bit of it. Oh my goodness. So I do have an intention to start having phone calls here on the show. I'd like to get that rocking, and I could, but there's some things that I want to finish getting together before I start doing that. I'm not 100% set up to do that properly. Since I tend to run my show the way I do, I also want to include like a dump button, because, I of course I would ask, just because I usually run my show with less of the what's considered foul language or profanity, though I'm not opposed to it myself, right? I'd like to keep it, at least in the outplaying of the show, a little more family friendly in case students of mine happen to wander by or something like that. Because there will be useful drum stuff from time to time getting going here. But I'd like to have a dump button available to be able to deal with that in case, one of you guys who it's your normal way of speaking. I don't hold that against you in the least. But just so you don't have to feel totally like on edge the entire time we're talking. So I'm going to get, rated PG-ish. That's right. So I'm going to try to integrate that, and then I'll get phone call interviews going at some point, because I'd love to interview bears. We'll have that happen. We'll definitely have that happen. I am going to get another, I'm waiting to hear back from, I'm take that back. I heard back from my chaplain, Dan Wilton, and I am going to have him on the show, hopefully the beginning of next week. And it'll be a pre-recorded interview because we have to make the timing work. He's usually busy at this time of day. So, I would love to do a skate speech segment with you, Liberty Snake. That would be fantastic. That would be awesome. So PG-13. Oh my goodness. You guys are killing me. No, Clark Kent, it'd probably be PG like 7.5, right? Hey, Sergeant Peterson, glad you're listening. Glad to have you here. We may get you to crack a smile or two in there somewhere. You're too tough for otherwise, right? Nothing but love, man. So I wanted to talk as the main subject today. We're finally going to get to that half an hour in. That's par for the course, right? That's earlier than usual. I wanted to talk a little bit about what you all have been doing to put your life in more order, in a more semblance of order, just a little thing at a time. Things that you've been doing to just make your living more efficient. How you've been able to get through that. More gratuitous violence, yes. You have to have Chunk and Gita fight, or Chunk and Gerby fight. That could be an interesting thing. I'm pretty sure I'll get kicked off YouTube for dogfighting. But it's not really dogfighting. They wrestle with each other. That's all it is. Of course, YouTube will probably consider that cruelty to animals in some way, so I probably won't air that. But I would like to get my old buddy Drew Slevin out here one of these days and do some kung fu with him. We used to study Hung Gar Kung Fu together, and did I just dox him? Let's forget I said that. Anyway, he's a cool guy. He probably wouldn't mind. He's been on public things before. So good cat. Love that guy. He's out of state at this current time. So he's doing his thing in his own world. Loving it. He's a great guy. My apologies, brother. I need that dump button in here. I shouldn't have doxed you. Now it's 2 people, kick you. You're not alone. I've doxed 2 people. But I'll do my best never to dox her again. And if you know her, you know her. If you don't, you don't. So there you go. Exactly. You have no idea who I'm talking about. So it's all good. He's not too active in the internet sphere, but, at any rate, I'd like to get my old buddy Kung Fu Drew up in here and the 2 of us do some Kung Fu together. It would be fun, get my fat butt, my Kung Fu panda butt doing some kung fu would be a good thing. I'm looking for a CNN job. No, I'm good. I'd like to stay as far away from Don Lemon, as Crowder would call him, dead Johnny Mathis, and Wolf Tevye Blitzer. I'll let them stay, at bay. It's a better place for them. But yeah, I'm wanting to talk more so about how we are going forward and getting our lives in order, in more semblance of organization, so that we can be more effective to those around us. What steps have you taken? I can talk about a few things that I've done, and one of those is what you see in front of you. I've organized this corner of the basement further, and I'm working to get the other half of the basement done this week. I would very much like to have just a greater semblance of order in this space so that I can accomplish what I'm here to do more efficiently, right? And more efficiency means more done, right? More done means more success in life. So it all builds on itself, one step after another. CNN's happiness is running down their legs. You guys are cracking me up. You're hilarious. Planners and listing. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see if I have it. I did have it. One of these, one of these is a useful tool. Maybe a pen along with it. It's not a bad idea. Something that's got plenty of pages and a pen handy so you can write ideas down. Even something as simple as, a small yellow pad. I use that to get my notes for 4 clause plus 1 down today. Get those ideas going, and it's a good idea. Yes, that's how to get stuff done. You're absolutely right. I would say my experience with planners has been difficult. So being a much more, how would you say, ADD-ridden individual, I struggle to do things with consistency. You might notice that in the way this show starts on time every day, like a well-oiled machine, right? Or my frequency in posting on social media for the show. It's not what you would call consistent, but I aim for consistency. I aim to do things better every day. Keeping a list is something that if you're going to use it to be more effective with, you have to do it consistently every day. And it doesn't always happen. It's very easy to get sidetracked, and by the time my day is done, certain things have not happened. I stay up later trying to get certain other things done, and still, it's not, some of the things I wanted to accomplish have not occurred. So, finding ways to motivate myself to accomplish the things I want to accomplish and maintain a consistency with those, that's something that I'll deal with constantly. But the more I put my spaces in order, the more it organizes my mind. And the more my mind is organized, the more prone I am to doing things consistently. So I start in some of the physical things that I can control, right? And I put a lot of effort and energy while I have the focus into getting this place more in line with what I need it to be so that I can do what I'm here to do. But in order to do that, you need to know what you're here to do, what your intentions are, what you plan to do. So solidifying those, I think, is a good first step to a lot of that. Yes, bullet journaling is good for that. My idea of what bullet journaling is and yours, Glampin, might be different. Explain to me a little bit more vividly. What do you mean by bullet journaling? I'm very curious, or direct me to a source that might better explain what bullet journaling is, because I'll definitely look that up and find out more. But yeah, tell me a bit about how you bullet journal. I'm curious about that, because I think I know what you mean, but it's probably self-explanatory. But just in case I'm wrong, a good definition from you. You also don't know what it is, or you do it. Best answers. Which one? You said me too without the hashtag. So, oh, cool. You're awesome, Glampin. You rock. At any rate, yeah, I'll have to check that out like ASAP. That'd be a good thing. I'm always looking for more tools to put into practice, but not just any tools. Like I just don't want any old thing. Hang on one second. What in the world? It's not a fly. Don't worry. It's not a fly. I'm not fixing a spiral. It's just, I think it's just a piece of plastic. That's weird. Can't not kick this thing. Yes, I've set up a space for myself here because I know I'm going to podcast. So I have the idea already in mind. I'm doing that from here, right? And I know what things are key to have in frame, right? So I wanted to set those things up first and organize it in such a way where if I want to get a hold of something, I just reach out and grab a hold of it. So I've got that set up. Now the next stage will be to get my drum kit in here so that I can go over to that and show some interesting ideas from time to time. I've got the guitar and bass set up behind me as well as the keyboard so I can pull those out. And I'll probably have some of the electronic drum pads set and wired into the soundboard so that you could get full playback of, or I should say full, what's the word I'm looking for? Hearing, yes, for lack of a better term, of ideas that I'm playing instead of, you know, crunchy sounds out of this mic, because that's all you're going to get right now until I have a bigger soundboard. But I'm umming a little bit. Those are some of the steps I am taking currently to make my life more productive, more interesting, more efficient, and to get more done. And I have some other ideas about doing that in the relatively near future. Let's see, hang on a second. Well, I want to open it in a new thing. There we go. I wanted to not knock out my dashboard because that's what was fixing to happen. Hang on, I'm pulling this up, Glampin, what you sent me, bulletjournal.com. Wow, the system. Ooh, there's a 5-minute tutorial. Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, says it will not only help you get more organized, but will also help you become a better person. There's a traditional style, and then there's rapid logging. Okay, yeah. So it's like shorthand. It's just like write it down. Yeah, rapid logging. Be it for taking notes or journaling, studies keep identifying benefits of writing by hand. Yes, this is true. I've talked about this recently with some people. That said, it takes time and can be unorganized. How can we enjoy the benefits while avoiding the shortcomings of handwriting? Rapid logging. Rapid logging is the language in which the bullet journal is written. In short, it's a way of capturing information as bulleted lists. Let's start with the basics. A dot for tasks, things you have to do, a dash for notes, things you don't want to forget, a little circle for events, noteworthy moments in time. If rapid logging is language, then Bujo or bullet journaling is written in, if rapid logging is the language Bujo is written in, bullets are the syntax, or Bujo, gosh, I can't even speak. Bullets are the syntax. Well, I might have to come back and do that. Hang on a second. Bullets are short form sentences paired with symbols that visually categorize your entries into tasks, events, or notes. So that's the short of it. That's interesting, and it gets more complex. I am gonna definitely learn about this. That's fantastic. See, not only do bears rock, but they're flipping awesome too. So, let's see, live drums would be sweet, and they will happen. I'm going to need a bigger soundboard and more mics. At least four good mics, and then I can make that happen, and then be able to turn off the audio mic when I'm not using it. Let's see. So then, Josiah, you have a tweet from real Donald Trump that you want me to look at. I'm going to give that a go. This isn't exactly what you would call organized. I'm just grabbing things out of the chat, but I am willing to check out what you guys have to say. It brought me to his Twitter profile. There we go. Despite requests. Hang on. I'm just going to go to it. I'm just going to flip and go to it because that's funnier. Hang on. This is way more fun. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's do this. So let's add a window capture because you guys will appreciate this. I know you will. Let's see here. So this is what Josiah just sent me. It's flipping hilarious. Despite requests, I have no plans to meet. All right. No, I can't do a Trump. I'm not even gonna try. Not gonna meet with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. Maybe someday in the future. I'm sure he's an absolutely lovely man. It's just is funny. It's classic. It's classic Trump. You know, he's saying something nice. You know, I'm sure that he doesn't. I'm sure it's going to get talked about in the mainstream media as, you know, he loves another horrendous person or something like that. Did the backup channel get taken down? Are you talking about Turkey Bear? Are you talking about for Big Bear? I don't think so. I think what he's doing, if you're talking about Big Bear, is that he is live streaming on the backup channel and then uploading the video after the live stream is over to his main channel. So you'll still have all the streams on his main channel, but yeah, you'll just have to get the replay on the old channel. Right, which is still growing, by the way. It's amazing. In the time he's been gone, he's still gained over another 1,000 or plus subscribers. So, unbelievable. But yeah, you got to go to the new channel for. He won't have any content there. Basically, he's just going to delete the content and keep it small, and then they're less likely to shut it down. So he'll stream from there and then upload it to the new one. That's what's happening, according to Big Bear. So you should see new content coming in on the old channel. But you have to go to the new channel and subscribe to it to get notified of when he's doing videos. That's the deal. Yeah. So about the bullet journaling, I want to mention something about that real quick. It's pretty awesome. It looks like, and the idea behind it is that when you're physically writing, that's a useful thing for you. That's absolutely correct. When you physically write stuff down, your motor neurons are now taking that sense of touch on the pen and that motion that you're doing to help indel stuff into your brain all the more. You don't get that from typing, right? You don't get that from speaking into an audio recorder. Not that those things are bad, but I mentioned this the other day. Well, maybe I mentioned it to students of mine. I have some various pages here of notes. Hey, thanks, Turkey Bear. Appreciate your subscription. That's very cool. I have various pages of notes from that seminar in Nashville that I went to over the weekend, the Music Expo. And I also audio recorded all of it, almost all of it. I think I missed one session I didn't have it turned on for, but it wasn't something I was particularly excited about. But I'm recording this and taking notes and listening, all these different things at the same time. I'm watching what the people have to say. They're taking some pictures when it's appropriate. So I have my sense of sight, my sense of touch, and my sense of hearing all integrated to help me figure out what's going on and remember it. And I remembered, just remembered some really stellar points from that whole thing. I was engaged like the whole day with a lot of different stuff. I didn't zone out almost at all throughout that day, which is a huge deal for me. When you're sitting for long periods of time listening to different people talk, it's easy to zone out and not intake what's going on. And I didn't take every single detail in. That's part of why I recorded it. But I recorded them. I got the main points dug into my brain, the main takeaways. Right. And I also had some really creative ideas that I came away with because of a lot of the things that were talked about at this Music Expo. So it was extremely fruitful, I enjoyed the heck out of that. And if you ever get a chance, if you're a musically minded individual and you get a chance to go to something like that, in Nashville. They have some in San Francisco that they do. I'd probably prefer Nashville. Then you don't have to deal with the doo-doo in the streets. But yeah, writing things down. It was recommended to me by one of my teachers in college when I was going back to school for my music degree. One of my professors that taught music theory there, she said, you know, handwriting your notes as well, or at least the main points, that's going to help indel stuff in your brain far better than just recording it. You know, she allowed that, but she said, you want to do both. You want to do both. It's just going to make you better. And absolutely right. Highly recommend it. Writing is a good thing. It's a lost art, lost skill. Some people have it. My mom's dad, Arthur Perry, the writer of this book that I've spoken about before, Finding God in the Psalms by Arthur Perry, a very wonderful guy, very intelligent guy. Also used to do prison ministry, but was his main profession was in the area of business math. Hang on just a second. Put that there and take those sticks off the shelf because I don't want to forget those. Yeah, his main area was business math, and he taught that at LeTourneau University. Very, very interesting guy. But he advocated handwriting as an important thing to help discipline your mind and body. And he actually became somewhat talented in calligraphy. He had a friend that was actually really, really good in it, but he sort of learned some of the fundamentals. And yeah, it's that's a worthwhile pursuit because I've always had terrible handwriting, and I know it. I've worked to make it better over the years, but it's at least somewhat more readable. When I'm in a hurry, I don't care. You know, when I'm rushing, I'm like, as long as I can read it, that's what's important. But yeah, I have massive inconsistency. So that part about the in the 4 clause plus 1 today. Here's a segment of that segment where I was doing all the Jordan Peterson bits on Pinder's mug. That's my handwriting, right? That's an example of what it looks like. A lot of inconsistent sizes of letters and words and things like that. Sometimes I'll forget to add a letter to a word by mistake and go back and put it in. I don't know if there's an element of dyslexia to that. I don't really think so. I'm a very fast-paced, brain-dead guy. And it was to my mother's chagrin so much when I was a kid that I had terrible handwriting, and as did my brother, Ben. The two of us were past masters at having terrible handwriting. But we've since improved in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's not uncommon. And I think it's a dude thing a lot of times too. Dudes tend to have far less stellar handwriting than women tend, I say. It's not always the rule. I am perhaps similar to serial bike thieves in some manners, apparently with my handwriting. That's funny, by the way. That's really good. Well, I think if you're writing every word down, Robot Bear, that's probably the case for a lot of people. That's awesome, Turkey Bear. I love it. That could be a new thing. Let's see. Let's see if I can do this. Let's try. I don't even know if I can play this. Drummer stole my bike. Yeah, I can't play that well at all. I'm terrible. So I'd probably be better at recording it than just playing drums for it. But I could do that here. That drummer stole my bike. He is a drummer, right? I don't have any more bits that are funny. So, yeah, I'm not as quick as Big Bear on those. I'd have to think about them for a little bit. That'd be fun. I was working on it, that whole last section there, trying to think something else funny about drummers that is ridiculous. That drummer needs a louder mic. That's awesome. That's so funny. So, Gita, relax, dog. You're fine. That's my special dog. She's on the spectrum a little bit, is so we suspect. I mean, she likes to watch Wapner all the time. She seems to be obsessed with shopping at Kmart, even though there are no more Kmarts around here. She seems to want to count cards regularly, but then she just picks them up in her mouth and chews on them. So it doesn't really do her any good to count them. Spectrum dog. That's what we call her. She's our spectrum puppy. And I don't know, sometimes like when she looks at me too, like it's in her eyes. I see something in her eyes. There's almost like a perceptual difference in the way she looks at me compared to the other two. The other two look at me like dogs, you know, with a little bit of a human flair to it. She looks at me, I don't know. There is an anthropomorphic aspect to it, but she's special. Yeah, I'm not good at piano. I pretend. I do need a mic near the piano and a camera. That would also be something. This little computer right here is capable of a small amount of things. It's a 2009, a mid 2009 MacBook Pro, and I got it as a refurbished model and paid more for it than I think one should for even a refurbished model from that long ago. But that's the thing about MacBook Pros. They seem to hold their value remarkably well. It's kind of insane. Hey, Field of Bears. My dog is not so much possessed as she is just special. She likes to fuss because she's not getting paid attention to. Hang on a second. I'm trying to do something to Turkey and to Field of Bears because you guys have earned it. Field of Bears, you are now a moderator because, after all, you are Field of Bears. So nobody can put you in timeout. Turkey Bear, I think you're legit. I've seen you around. You're not a troll. You're probably not a furry, but if you were, you'd still be allowed, I suppose, as long as you're not like as long as you're not too far gone, you know. That said, we love you, Charity, wherever you are. Canine ableism is my trigger. Well, I was actually fixing to bring in a dog in a minute here. But canine ableism. That's funny. No, she's a good dog. She's a good puppy. She just needs to relax. She'll be all right. She's got two other dogs up there to chill with. So, welcome to Wrench Life, Turkey Bear, and Field of Bears. Glad to have you. Yeah, FOB, I missed your stream, man. I have to confess. I was teaching lessons, and I was actually at a the parents of that student have a recording studio in their basement, and it's in pretty decent shape. We can do some neat stuff down there. But we were having some discussions about working on some songs that the parents have written because they're quite talented musicians, and bringing in some great percussion and possibly some insights on how we can make the music just awesome, like really, really good. So, how does that go? How does that go, Best Answers? I remember that song, but I try not to. A famous furry was, huh? I don't keep track of the furries, so I wouldn't know. I hope that they're not doing such things. That would be disturbing. Let's see. So yeah, a lover's quarrel. That's. I tell people when I say come check out this channel, right? I say just be warned. People in the chat get pretty interesting, to say the least. So if you have children, you may not want to open the chat window at all when you watch back some of the videos. I wouldn't recommend coming to the live streams if you have children. It's not in your best interest or theirs. And just try to keep the people safe, you know. But you know, in order to think, you have to be able to risk being offensive. So I understand it's necessary. At any rate, so the original subject we were on, I was talking a little bit about the recording project that I'm going to get to be involved in, and that will be fun. I'll give you guys more on that as I'm able. But we were talking about ways that you order your life, and we got to bullet journaling, which I'm very excited about. That's going to be a cool tool to use. We're also talking about, you know, getting your room clean, which I'm attempting to do and show here. And I think having a shelf of books that I'm readily able to come and use and sit down at the table and maybe do some research with them and look up words, different things like that, that's a good step in the right direction, because having books that you value close at hand, I think, is a worthwhile thing. You're basically making a statement that knowledge is important to you, right? And especially, like, what type of knowledge? Well, this is the set of books that's going to be closest to me. So that makes it very clear that this type of knowledge is the most important to me. Biblical knowledge I value above all. So, Last Moomin, I'd love to hear this song, Time Lord. Is it about Doctor Who? Is it a Doctor Who related song? As if so, that would be awesome. Yeah, if you don't subscribe to Last Moomin's channel, go do that. He's got some great videos up. There's a lot of stuff on Vimeo as well. That's where I sort of caught some of his things. But he's written some really cool songs. So both on Vimeo, and I think he's got some YouTube stuff too. So go check out Last Moomin. He's a good songwriter. He's an interesting cat. Plays a little guitar. But Time Lord is a good running tune. I'd have to check that out. I'm interested now. I'm doing a horrible thing. I got to switch sides. I kind of like that side better, but see, I want my Let Big Bear Stream thing to be quite visible, because we gotta maintain an awareness of the necessity for Big Bear streaming. That's a big part of this show. Always keep that out there. Let's see here now. So, the most useful book. I like that best. Who said that? Feel the Bears. Pretty funny. Yes, I would have to say so. Yeah, anytime, man. I'm going to check out that Time Lord song later. That's going to be fun. So I've got another shelf here that I haven't fully populated. I need to put more stuff on it. Drum-related books and things of that nature. They don't go here for when I'm teaching lessons. I'm going to get that set today. And I'm also going to get this other bookshelf down here. But I'm going to go through a lot of that and figure out what books I don't absolutely need. And we're going to eventually have a garage sale here. Maybe I can have an online thing as well. Maybe I could live stream some of it. And if I have stuff in there that you're interested in, because it's going to be cheap. It's going to be like 50 cents to $1 per book, you know. So, and there's going to be plenty of other things down the road here. A few weeks, maybe I'll get that rocking. And yeah, it'll be a Support Big Drum Bear garage sale, you know. Just trying to get rid of stuff. And books, it's easy enough to ship, you know. Hey, Tommy Lee, glad you could join us. Feel free to check out the replay, because we had a new bit we introduced today. It's called 4 Claws Plus 1, and we had a special guest reader for the 4 Claws Plus 1 bits today. So I think you'll definitely enjoy it. It's something in the vein of David Letterman's Top 10 and Steven Crowder's 7+1. So it's going to be a new segment that we bring in from time to time in here that I think will be enjoyable for all. At any rate, we are talking today about ways that we are organizing our life and making it more effective and more efficient, so that we can be of more use to the people around us, right? We don't want to be bitter and resentful and without purpose and adrift and hostile and resentful and vengeful and arrogant and deceitful and of no use to yourself and of no use to anyone else, and no partner for a mate, and You don't want to have there be nothing that in you that's good. That's not a way to be, you know. Incidentally, that bit was taken from the Kathy Newman interview because that stood out to me as one of his best, like, adjective rants, you know. When JPP lays on the adjectives, he lays them on thick. It's like a Dagwood sandwich or something, you know. That's an old school reference. I don't know how many of you remember Dagwood, but in the comic strips from Sunday. But yeah, it's flippin' funny seeing him do that stuff. So yes, Gita, I know my dear puppy. She's quite a bit amusing with that. I know it. I'm actually going to be wrapping up a little earlier than I was previous days. I don't need to be doing hour and a half today. Big Bear's new channel for streaming. Yes, good call, Inspector. Glad you put that up. He'll be streaming from there and then posting it to his old channel once the stream is over. It's a good plan for now. But until WOJCICKI gets her fascist head out of her fascist backside, let Big Bear stream. Never forget. What's that? Never heard of Hmong time? Is that what you meant to put? It says Hmong time. That is not in the line of typical Asian fashion. That's awesome. That's excellent. I like it. Took me a second. Had to backtrack through the chat to keep up with some of your guys' bits. I don't always watch it because it's not in my best interest. It doesn't help me stay organized and efficient in providing you with a great podcast. Hmong time is 2 hours later than scheduled. That's great. That's appropriate. I'll bear that in mind. I'm sure Big Bear appreciates that, right? Hey, Tommy, I need you to be in this place, like, now. Like, it's almost a Fallon. I almost went full Fallon with that Big Bear impression. But he's not. Tommy is he's a pretty funny guy, you know. He's Asian, he's Hmong, so he's pretty cool. He's a different kind of Asian. I like that about him. That's not the best Big Bear bit, but I'll have to work on Big Bear. I kind of need to develop his impression, because impression is the highest form of flattery. So, I am also fashionably late often, or not very fashionably. It's like an old fashioned. It's like, stop it. You know, we're not living 100 years ago now, and you had to actually be punctual, right? We have watches. We can tell it's not sundials anymore. I don't know how to approximate these things. I'm hiding behind my mic. It's a secret. Hide behind my mic and get Banish. The scheduled time is... Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Well, at any rate, I want people to think today more and more. Put things in the comment section. I love it when people put stuff in the comments. Gick is usually really good about that, and I always appreciate it. And Spectre, you've done some good comments, and I'm glad for people who do. I understand if you can't. I know life is busy. I don't put comments on everybody's videos, but I sure try. I was going to say, Steve Pinder has a new video out, one of his food for thoughts. It was interesting, and I had added some thoughts there if you want to check that out. But also be sure to comment, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff here. But when you comment today, throw in some thoughts about what you're doing to gain more order in your life. How are you carving out efficiency in the way you accomplish stuff in your day and get more stuff done that you need to do? Because we never are done getting stuff done. There's always stuff to do every day. And it's just a matter of when you choose to stop. Have you chosen to stop when you've accomplished something worthwhile? My problem is that I want to not stop because I haven't gotten enough done in the day, because when I had the time, I wasn't using it effectively. And so there's not as much stuff accomplished. And I'm like, oh, I need to just push myself longer. Then I end up tired as fudge, and I just, it doesn't work out for anybody. So I get less done because I'm flipping tired. So let's consider that. Let's consider, what can we do? What are we currently doing? I appreciate the glamping, the idea of the bullet journaling. Check that out if you haven't, bulletjournal.com. That's a thing. And I'm going to make use of that ASAP. That should be fun. Yeah, it's been a good day, and I'm looking forward to it being another good day. Why don't you all go out there and engage your mind, your body, and your heart, and seek to serve the ultimate purpose in all that you put your hands to do. Until next time, Bears, be at peace. Have a good one. Love you guys. Check out Big Bear Stream. I'm sure he'll have one later today. Peaces.